Chapter 1. By the time you arrive in Willow Bay, the sky is already beginning to soften. The light has turned from bright afternoon to that gentle, in-between blue, and everything along the shoreline seems to exhale at once. You step down from your quiet, unseen journey onto a narrow path that follows the curve of the harbor. It is an old path, worn smooth by years of footsteps, its cobblestones rounded and gentle under your tired feet. Each step is slow, unhurried. There is no need to rush. The day is finished. Whatever needed to be done has already been done, or can be left for another time. Ahead of you, the water of the bay moves in a patient rhythm, a soft and steady breathing. Waves lap against the wooden posts of the dock, and the sound is low and repetitive. A quiet shush, shush, shush that seems to brush against your thoughts and smooth them down. The air is cool, but not cold, wrapped in the faint salt scent of the sea. It settles around your shoulders like a light, familiar blanket. As you walk, you notice how still everything feels. Not empty, not abandoned, just gently slowed. A gull calls somewhere far above and then falls silent again, as if even the birds know that it is time to rest. A small boat knocks lightly against its mooring. A soft, hollow tap that repeats with each slow push of the water. The dock creaks, old wood shifting in tiny, comfortable movements, like an old house settling for the night. Along the curve of the harbor, cottages sit close together, the roofs sloping down in friendly lines. One by one, the windows begin to glow as lamps are lit inside. Golden light spills out across the cobbles in long, gentle rectangles. Behind the glass, you can see small, ordinary scenes. Someone setting a table, someone closing a curtain, someone moving a chair closer to a hearth. The sight of these small, steady rituals brings with it a feeling of quiet belonging. Even though you are new here, it does not matter where you have come from. It does not matter what you have carried with you through the day. Willow Bay does not ask you to explain or to earn your place. The town simply opens itself around you, as if it has been expecting you to arrive exactly now, at this soft blue hour. Overhead, lanterns have been strung along the harbor path. They are simple paper lanterns, round and pale, hanging from slender black cords that sway a little in the evening breeze. As the last of the daylight deepens, each lantern flickers to life. One after another, they bloom into gentle circles of warm light. You watch them sway, a slow and easy movement. The paper shells rise and fall a little, turn a little, tilting just enough to catch your eye, and then drifting back again. When the wind lifts, the lanterns tremble in unison, a line of soft, nodding lights that guide your steps without hurrying them. You follow their glow, not because you have to, but because it is pleasant to do so. Your footsteps sound different here. On some stones, they land with a muted thud. On others, with a faint, rounded tap. Every few paces, you pause. Not for any reason you can name, but simply to feel the stillness pressing gently in. The harbor moves. The lanterns sway. Somewhere behind you, a door closes with a soft, final click. The day is folding itself away. You do not need to hold it up anymore. To your right, the water darkens as the sky deepens, shifting from silver to indigo. Little trails of foam lace the edges of the dock, breaking and returning in the same unending pattern. You rest your hand on a smooth, weathered railing. The wood is cool and slightly rough, polished by all the other hands that have leaned here at the end of long days. You stand like that for a while, not moving, just listening. The sounds of Willow Bay come to you slowly and gently, as if from a distance. The low murmur of a voice from a nearby cottage, the clink of cutlery being laid in a drawer, the faint, sleepy bark of a dog, and then the silence that follows as it curls up and settles. All of it is ordinary. All of it is small. And somehow, that is what makes it so comforting. When you begin walking again, you feel a little lighter, as though the town itself has taken some of your weight. A small inn comes into view ahead, tucked right beside the harbor wall. A wooden sign hangs over the door, moving just enough to creak softly every few breaths. Its paint is a little faded by the salt air, but the letters are still clear and welcoming. There is a bench just outside, and 2 lanterns hanging on either side of the door, their light overlapping, making a pool of warmth on the ground. You do not have to decide anything. You do not have to choose whether to go in or not. In Willow Bay, even your decisions can rest. For now, it is enough to stand here, close enough to feel the warmth spilling from the inn, close enough to hear the soft hum of voices inside, getting quieter as the evening deepens. The inn door opens for a moment, and a ribbon of warm air slips out, carrying with it the scent of something simple and comforting. Fresh bread, perhaps, or a gentle stew, the kind that takes all afternoon to cook and asks nothing of you except to sit and enjoy it. You catch that scent. Recognize it not as a demand, but as an invitation. Not urgent, not pressing, just there if you want it. The door closes again. The harbor sounds return to the front of your mind, washing slowly over the edges of your thoughts. The shush of water, the muted hollow of wood on wood, the soft, shifting sigh of the breeze moving through ropes and sails, through paper lanterns and cottage eaves. You notice how your breathing has begun to match these rhythms without you trying. In with the gentle swell of the water, out with the soft fall of each wave, in as the lanterns lift, out as they sway back down. Your shoulders feel a little less tense. Your jaw is a little looser. You do not have to hold yourself so tightly here. Behind you, the path continues along the curve of the bay, deeper into the town, where more lanterns glow and more windows shine. Somewhere farther along this path, there are quiet streets and quieter corners, places where night settles fully and everything slows even further. For now, you stand between the harbor and the town, held gently by both the open water and the warm lights. You are at the very beginning of your time in Willow Bay, at the very beginning of this slow easing away from effort and into rest. Soon, you will follow the lanterns farther. Soon, you will see what waits for you in the heart of this sleepy place. But there is no hurry. The night in Willow Bay is only just beginning to. By the time you reach the edge of the forest, the sky has already settled into a soft, steady gray. The kind of gray that promises rain, not in sharp bursts or sudden downpours, but in a gentle, unbroken curtain that will fall and fall and fall. You step from the last open field into the shelter of tall trees, and the first thing you notice is the sound. It is not yet rain on rooftops or windows. It is the delicate, expectant hush that comes just before. The forest seems to be holding its breath, waiting with you. The path beneath your feet is easy and clear, worn smooth by years of quiet footsteps. It curves without hurry between the tree trunks, leading you deeper into the cool green shade. Leaves stir overhead, soft and patient. Somewhere far off, a bird calls once, then settles into silence, as if even it knows that tonight is a night for quiet. The first drops begin as you walk, almost shy, a faint tapping on the highest leaves, a whisper as tiny beads of water brush against the needles of an evergreen. You lift your face, feeling one, then another, touch your skin with a cool, quick kiss before sliding away. There is no rush, no sudden wind, just the slow gathering of something constant and kind. The farther you follow the path, the thicker the trees become, until you notice a thin ribbon of smoke rising between them. It curls upward, pale against the deepening sky, a sure and steady sign. Somewhere ahead, there is warmth. When the cabin appears, it does so without drama. It is simply there, in a small clearing, as if it has always waited for you. The roof is low and dark, edges softened by moss. The wood is weathered, but strong. A single window glows with quiet light, the way a lantern glows behind cupped hands. The rain has found its rhythm now. It falls through the leaves in soft, secret patterns, tapping here, sliding there, pooling gently in the hollows of roots and stones. As you step closer to the cabin, you hear a new note join the chorus. The soft, hollow drumming of raindrops on the roof. It is a sound you know deep in your bones. A sound that says you are nearly inside, nearly safe, nearly held. You climb the simple wooden steps to the door. They creak politely beneath your weight, acknowledging you, but asking for nothing. When you open the door, warmth meets you like an old friend. The air inside is fragrant with dry wood and something faintly sweet, like vanilla and pine. There is a small fire already alive in the stone hearth, its flames low and unhurried, just enough to glow. The crackle is gentle, never loud, weaving itself between the steady patter of the rain on the roof. The door closes behind you with a soft, sure sound. Nothing is left out there that needs your attention. The world beyond can go on without you tonight. You stand for a moment and simply breathe. In, out, listening. Rain on the roof, fire in the hearth, wood beneath your feet, solid and warm from the day. The cabin is simple, and because of that, it is easy to love. A worn rug lies in front of the fireplace, its colors faded into comfort. A sturdy table holds a kettle, a mug, and a small tin with a hinged lid. Near the window sits an armchair, its cushions softened by many evenings, just like this one. A folded blanket rests over the back, waiting. There is no urgency here, no list pinned to the wall, no clock measuring moments into tasks. You move toward the table and lift the tin. Inside, tea leaves wait, delicate and fragrant. You breathe them in, noticing notes of chamomile perhaps, or something floral and calm. You do not need to name it. You only need to know that it is kind to you. You fill the kettle with fresh water and set it on the small stove. It settles into place with the quietest of clinks, and you turn the knob with a soft click. The flame appears, blue and steady, and you watch for a moment as the bottom of the kettle begins to warm. Behind you, the fire continues its slow conversation, a log giving way with a gentle sigh, the embers shifting. Overhead, the rain keeps its own steady pattern, tumbling softly onto the roof, sliding down the glass of the window in slender, wandering streams. You can feel your shoulders beginning to loosen, your breath sinking a little deeper into your chest. Here, inside these four walls, the rain is not something to get through. It is something to listen to rest inside of. The kettle begins to murmur, a low sound that grows gradually, like a whisper turning into a hum. When it reaches a soft boil, you turn off the flame and pour the hot water into your waiting mug. The rising steam carries the gentle scent of the tea up to you, wrapping around your face, your eyes, your thoughts. You hold the mug in both hands, feeling the warmth soak into your palms, into your fingers. You do not need to think about anything else, not what happened before you arrived, not what might come after you leave. There is only the feeling of heat against your skin and the rain, the endless, patient rain, speaking its soft language on the roof. You take the blanket from the back of the armchair and drip it over your shoulders. Its weight is just enough to remind you where your body ends and the rest of the world begins. It settles around you like a promise. You lower yourself into the chair by the window, cushion welcomes you, giving way in all the right places. You tuck your feet up beneath you, or rest them on the small footstool, whichever feels more natural, more kind. There is no correct way to sit here. There is only the way that makes your muscles feel heard. The rain on the roof is closer now, as if it is happening just above your thoughts. It is steady and kind, without edge or hurry. Tap, 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 in patterns too gentle to count. Always the same, yet always changing. You lift the mug and take a slow sip. Warmth moves through you, down into your chest, into the center of you that has worked so hard for so long. For this moment, you do not need to hold anything up. The cabin is holding you. The rain is wrapping the cabin. Layers of safety, one over another. You turn your gaze to the window. Outside, the forest is soft and blurred. Drops gather on the glass and grow heavy, then trail downward in slow, wandering paths. The trees sway only slightly, accepting the rain as it comes. Inside, the fire glows. The tea cools slowly in your hands, and the sound of the rain deepens into something almost like a lullaby. Familiar, continuous, trustworthy. You let your thoughts drift, the way the drops drift down the pane. They come, they linger, they move on. There is no need to chase them, no need to solve anything tonight. Here in the cabin, where it always rains softly, time loosens its grip. Minutes blur into one another, not lost, but gently laid aside. Your breath finds its own unhurried rhythm, matching the rain, matching the fire. You do not need to decide what comes next. Not tonight. Not yet. For now, you can simply sit, wrapped in your blanket, held by the chair, sheltered by the roof, listening to the soft, endless rain. And somewhere, not so far from this quiet cabin, tracks wind through the dark, waiting for a slow-moving train that asks nothing of you but to be carried. The midnight train glides out of the station so quietly that you almost miss the moment when it begins to move. There is no rush, no running down the platform, no panicked glances at a departure board. You have already found your seat, already placed your small bag in the rack above you. You are here, settled, as the world outside begins to slide slowly past. The carriage is warm and dim. A soft yellow reading lamp glows above your shoulder, casting a gentle pool of light over the table in front of you. The fabric of the seat is deep and cushioned, holding your weight as if it has been waiting all evening just for you. When you lean back, the headrest supports you, inviting your shoulders to drop, inviting the last of the day to loosen its grip. Outside the window, the platform lamps drift by in a measured rhythm. One light, then a space of darkness, then another. The pattern repeats, unhurried and steady, until the lamps thin out and the station falls away behind you. In its place, there is only the night, calm and quiet. a vast, dark canvas against which the faintest shapes of trees and houses pass like slow-moving shadows. Beneath it all is the sound of the train, a low, continuous murmur, soothing and sure. The wheels gently meeting the rails, again and again, in a steady pattern that asks nothing of you, a soft, distant clatter when the train passes over a junction, then back to that reliable, lulling rhythm, as if the night itself were breathing in time with the tracks. You do not need to know where you are on a map. You do not need to know exactly when you will arrive. Somewhere ahead, the line continues. Somewhere behind, the day grows smaller and smaller, like the last few lights of the town you have left, glowing faintly in the distance before they too are gone. Here, in this moving room, you are carried. That is all that matters. The carriage is only half full. Across the aisle, a person sits with their eyes closed, head resting against the window, their book open but forgotten in their lap. A few rows ahead, someone has pulled a blanket up to their shoulders, their breathing slow and deep, their face turned toward the seat back, as if the train had tucked them in. Farther down, a quiet conversation murmurs and then fades, the voices never rising above a whisper. No one is in a hurry. No one is demanding anything. The world outside may still be busy, but in here, the pace has slowed to match the gentle sway of the carriage. Every so often, a conductor walks softly along the corridor. The muted tap of their footsteps comes and goes, regular and reassuring. A door at the far end of the carriage opens with a soft click and closes again with a sigh, like a slow exhale. Even these small sounds seem hushed, wrapped in the late hour, as if the train itself is respecting the night. You rest your hand on the armrest and feel the faint vibration from the tracks. It is not jarring. It is like the quiet purr of a contented animal, a subtle, continuous reminder that you are moving forward without needing to do anything at all. No steering, no choices to make. You do not have to watch the time. Outside, the dark landscape slides past the window. But in here, the minutes blur into one long, soothing moment. The train knows the way. The rails know the route. You are free to simply sit, to breathe, to exist without directing a single thing. You watch the night through the glass. Occasionally, a solitary light appears, a farmhouse lamp glowing warm in the distance, or the brief streak of street lamps along a road that runs parallel to the tracks for a while before drifting away again. Each light is a reminder. People are winding down, settling in, turning off their own days. You are not alone in this soft descent into quiet. You are part of a vast, unseen tapestry of rest, all of you scattered across the night, each finding your own way toward sleep. Inside the carriage, the air is gently cool, but not cold. You pull your coat a little closer around you, or perhaps you unfold the light blanket offered at your seat. The fabric is smooth against your skin, a familiar weight that helps your body understand that it is safe to let go. You shift slightly and feel the seat support you in a new position. There is no wrong way to sit. You can curl your legs beneath you or stretch them out along the floor. You can lean your head against the window and feel the soft thrum of the train under your cheek. Or you can let it rest against the back of the seat, eyes half closed, watching the reflection of your own tired face soften in the glass. The reflections in the window are their own quiet world. The reading lamp behind you, the gentle curve of the carriage ceiling, the suggestions of other heads bowed in rest. The outside blends with the inside, trees and fields passing through the floating shapes of seats and hands and half-open books. There is nothing you need to make sense of. You can let the images come and go, the way thoughts drift through a sleepy mind. If a thought of the day tries to sit up inside you, a memory of something unfinished, or a voice wondering what comes next, you can imagine the train carrying that thought away. You place it gently on the tracks behind you, and the rhythm of the wheels meets it, lifts it, and leaves it to grow smaller and smaller in the distance, until it is only one more tiny point of nothing in the night. You do not have to hold any of it here. Not now. Another soft announcement murmurs through the speakers, the voice low and calm, mentioning a station that lies still some time ahead. You do not need to remember the name. You do not need to prepare. The words themselves are like a lullaby, the gentle cadence of consonants and vowels that mean only this. The journey continues. Everything is as it should be. There is nothing you must do. The train leans almost imperceptibly as it takes a wide, easy curve. Your body follows, a slow, cradled motion that rocks you just enough to feel the change. The view outside tilts by the smallest degree, then settles again. The movement is so smooth that you could almost believe you are floating. Inside, the carriage lights dim a little further. Not darkness, just a softer shade of glow, as if the train recognizes the late hour and is quietly lowering its own voice. The reading lamp above you becomes the brightest thing in your small circle of space, and even that brightness feels gentle, kind to tired eyes. You let your gaze blur. The words on the page in front of you fade into one another. The details of the upholstery lose their sharpness. You feel your breathing slow to match the steady roll beneath you, in and out. The train moves forward, in and out. The landscape passes by. Somewhere much later, you imagine, this train will climb. The night will give way to a pale edge of morning, to hills rising against the sky, to places where the air is thinner and the world seems farther away. But for now, you do not have to be there yet. For now, you are simply in between, suspended in motion, held in this narrow carriage of calm. You do not need to arrive. Not just yet. You only need to be carried through the dark and over the quiet rails toward a tomorrow that does not require your planning, toward a higher, quieter place that waits without impatience. Chapter 4. Somewhere ahead. You feel the train slowing long before it stops. A change in the rhythm beneath your feet. The steady rolling that has carried you through the night grows gentler and gentler until it is nothing more than a slow, almost hesitant glide. There is no rush to stand. No announcements telling you to gather your belongings. The world outside the window is still dark, but it is a different kind of dark than the one you left behind. When you finally rise, the carriage is quiet and warm. You step down, and the air meets you like cool water, clear and thin and startlingly clean. You draw it in slowly, then draw it in again, deeper this time. It smells of stone and pine, and the faintest trace of wood smoke drifting from somewhere above. There is a small, unassuming platform beneath your feet. No crowd, no bright signs, just a narrow path that curves away from the tracks and begins to climb, gently and patiently, up the shoulder of the mountain. You follow it, not because you must, but because it is there, waiting. The gravel crunches softly under your steps at first, then gives way to firm, packed earth, edged with soft, green moss. Each footfall feels deliberate, unhurried. You are aware of the weight of your body, the slow strength in your legs, the gentle lift of your chest as you breathe this higher air. On either side of the path, the world falls away into a hush of shadow and cloud. Now and then, a gap opens in the trees, and you glimpse the valley below, already half hidden beneath a wide white sea of mist. Lights that once seemed bright and urgent are now only faint points, scattered and far away. They look small from here. They feel small from here. You keep walking, not to reach anything quickly, but to enjoy the easy rhythm of one step and another and another. The path bends around a stand of tall, dark pine trees, their needles whispering softly high overhead. You reach out once and let your fingers brush the rough bark of a trunk as you pass. It is solid and cool and reassuring under your hand. Gradually, the slope eases. The trees thin, and then you see it. The mountain lodge sits just above the cloud line, simple and sturdy, as though it has always been here. Wooden walls weathered to a soft gray. A wide porch that runs along the front, its railing lined with smooth stones and a few sleepy potted herbs. Light spills from a few of the windows, golden and steady. A quiet welcome that asks nothing of you. You climb the last few steps to the porch, feeling the boards flex slightly beneath your weight. The door stands half open, as if someone stepped away only a moment ago and left it that way for you. Inside, the air is warmer, edged with the scent of dry wood and something comforting from the kitchen, like bread that was baked earlier and is now resting, fragrant and forgotten on a counter. The floor creaks softly under your shoes, every gentle sound reminding you that this place is real and safe and waiting. There is no one at the counter or a knoll. There is no one at the front desk, no clipboard, no clock. Only a small bell that you do not need to ring, and a worn guest book left open to a page filled with names you do not recognize. You do not have to add your own unless you wish to. You are welcome here either way. A key hangs from a hook, tagged with a simple number. It feels natural to take it in your hand, natural to move down the hall, as though you know exactly where you are going. The corridor is lined with wooden doors, each one with a small square window of clouded glass at eye level, each one closed and peaceful. Your room is small and clean, with a wide bed dressed in soft, heavy blankets, the color of stone and sky. The mattress meets you with a gentle give when you sit. A single chair waits by the window, placed just so, angled toward the view. There is a shelf with a few folded sweaters, a pair of wool socks, a thick scarf, all in your size. As if the lodge has been expecting you, you move to the window and rest your hand on the cool, smooth frame. Outside, the clouds stretch out in every direction, a quiet ocean of white and silver, slowly shifting and breathing, as if the whole sky is asleep. Peaks of distant mountains rise like islands, dark and steady above the soft expanse. From this high place, whatever you brought with you from the world below feels lighter. Deadlines and messages, unanswered calls and unfinished plans. They are somewhere under that blanket of cloud now, softened and muffled, and very far away. You can feel the gentle distance settle over you, like another layer of warm fabric on your shoulders. You stay at the window for a long, unmeasured time, just watching the slow drift of vapor, watching shadows move and melt into light again. There is nothing to solve here. No one asking for anything. Even your own thoughts seem to move more slowly, drifting lazily like the clouds below. Later, when the quiet of the room has seeped into your bones, you step back into the hallway and follow the familiar creak of boards toward the common room. The sound of a low fire reaches you first, then the soft murmur of wind pressing gently against the outer walls. The common room is large but uncluttered, with wide windows looking out over the same sleeping sea of cloud. Chairs and low sofas are scattered around in small, friendly clusters. A long table holds a tray of mugs and a pot that still steams faintly, its handle wrapped in a cloth. You pour yourself a warm drink, whatever you most want it to be. You do not have to decide quickly. No one is waiting behind you in line. You carry the mug to a seat by the window and wrap your hands around it, letting the heat sink slowly into your fingers, your palms, your wrists. The fire crackles in a relaxed, unhurried way, like an old friend talking softly to itself. You lean back. Feel the cushions support the length of your spine. Feel your shoulders settle, as if they have been gently set down. Time stretches here. Moments lengthen and soften at the edges. There is no schedule posted on any wall, no list of recommended hikes or must-see viewpoints. The mountain is not a task to complete, and you're not here to accomplish anything. You are here to be as still or as slow as you like, with no explanation required. When you stand again, it is only because you want to feel the ground under your feet once more. Outside, a narrow path leads away from the porch, not up toward any summit, but along the gentle curve of the mountain itself. You follow it, moving at the pace of your own breath. The path is soft with moss in places, springy and cool under your soles. Low shrubs brush your ankles, their leaves whispering quietly as you pass. Every so often, you pause just to listen. There is the distant hush of wind sliding past the rocks above, the faint call of a bird that has made its home in this high, thin world, the soft thud of your own heart, steady and calm. You stop at a small outcropping where a wooden bench has been set into the stone, smooth from many people sitting and resting and looking. You sit there too, your feet planted, your hands resting loosely in your lap. From here, the view is even wider. The line between cloud and sky seems to blur, the two gently folding into one another. You notice how slowly everything changes up here, how patient the light is as it shifts, almost imperceptibly, from one shade to the next. Just as patient as the way your body softens, little by little, as you allow yourself to do nothing at all. You realize that the world below is still moving, still busy, still noisy, but it is not your job to keep pace with it right now. Up here, you have stepped out of that constant motion. You are allowed to be a quiet observer, high above the crowded ground. After a while, you stand and walk back to the lodge, feeling a little looser, a little lighter with each step. The porch boards greet you again with their familiar creak. Inside, the air is warm and lamplit, gathering around you like a soft blanket. As the evening deepens, the lodge grows even more peaceful. Doors close gently along the hall. Footsteps become rare and muffled. In your room, you slip between cool sheets that quickly warm to your body, the heavy blankets settling over you with reassuring weight. You lie on your back for a moment, eyes half closed, listening. The faint wind outside, the occasional sigh of the old wood as it adjusts itself for the night. Your own breath, slow and easy now. You can stay here as long as you like. The mountain will hold your worries at a distance, high above the cloud line, until you are ready to descend again. For tonight, you need only rest, wrapped in thin, clear air and wide, open quiet. And when you are ready to stir, when your mind has had its fill of sky and cloud and patient stone, there will be another place waiting for you. A door that opens not onto mountain paths and distant valleys, but onto warm walls lined with shelves and shelves of stories, resting peacefully in the after-hours glow of a bookshop. Chapter 5. Ready to welcome. By the time you reach the bookshop, the sky above the city has deepened into a soft, velvety blue. The streets are quieter now, the busiest hours drifting further behind you with each slow step. Ahead, on the corner of a narrow side street, a warm rectangle of light spills onto the pavement from a wide front window. The sign above the door is simple, hand-painted, its letters softened by time and weather. The lights inside are mellow, not bright. And as you draw closer, you notice a small card propped in the window. Closed. The word is written in looping, careful handwriting. But beneath it, in smaller letters, someone has added another line. Knock if you are not in a hurry. You are not in a hurry. Not tonight. Your day has unfolded and then folded itself away again. You are here now, at the quiet edge of evening. So you lift your hand and give the door a gentle tap. There is a pause, and then the muted sound of footsteps, unhurried and light. The lock turns with a soft click, and the door opens inward, carrying with it a wave of familiar smell, paper and ink, and a hint of dust warmed by lamplight. A smell that feels like settling down. The bookseller stands in the doorway, a comfortable figure in a worn cardigan, with kind eyes that have seen many long days and many longer nights. Their voice is low and easy as they speak. You look like you could use a quiet place to sit for a while. They step aside, leaving the doorway open for you. And you cross the threshold into the after-hours hush of the shop. Inside, the city falls away almost at once. The sounds from outside are dulled, turned to a distant murmur. The overhead lights are off, leaving only pockets of warm light from shaded lamps perched on tables and tucked into corners. Each lamp seems to hold its own small circle of comfort, a pool of gold in the gentle dimness. You can hear the faint rustle of pages as the bookseller finishes reshelving the last few books of the day. Somewhere in the back, an old clock ticks with a slow, patient rhythm. It does not hurry you. Nothing here is in a rush. You breathe in slowly, and the air settles inside you. The books fill the space from floor to ceiling, shelves climbing up the walls and curling around corners, forming little nooks and short, inviting aisles. The spines are all different shades of browns and blues and soft, faded colors. Their titles whispering from the shelves, but never demanding your attention. You do not have to choose a story here. You do not have to decide anything. You can simply be among them, surrounded by all these quiet possibilities. The bookseller gestures toward a small seating area not far from the front of the shop. A cozy armchair, its fabric worn soft where many people have rested. Beside it, a low wooden table with a small lamp, and beyond that, a window where you can just see the street outside, now distant and blurred. Sit anywhere you like, the bookseller says. I will put the kettle on. You hear them move away toward a tiny back room where a sink and a narrow counter hold the simple things needed to make tea. The sound of running water is gentle and steady, followed by the soft clink of a spoon against a mug. Even these small sounds feel careful, soothing, like part of a well-loved ritual. You sink slowly into the armchair and feel it welcome your weight, the cushions giving way just enough. Your shoulders settle back, and your feet find the floor in a comfortable way. The lamp beside you casts a warm, steady light that seems to soften the edges of everything you see. Around you, the books rest in their places, their pages closed, their stories sleeping for the night. Some stand in neat rows. Others lean against each other in small clusters, as if keeping company. A few are stacked on the table nearest you, left behind by someone who could not quite put them away. Your eyes drift over the covers and titles without focusing too hard. There is no pressure here to keep track, to remember, to decide. Your mind can float above the words, letting them pass like clouds. The bookseller returns, carrying 2 cups on a small tray. The steam curls gently upward, carrying the scent of something calm and familiar. They place 1 cup on the table beside you, the ceramic warm, the liquid inside a soft, soothing color. Nothing complicated, they say quietly, just something warm to hold on to. They sit down across from you in a simple wooden chair, their movements unhurried. For a moment, the two of you are quiet together. The only sounds, the faint ticking of the clock, the soft breath of the city outside, and the almost inaudible settling of the old wooden shelves. It has been a long day, the bookseller says at last, not as a question, but as an understanding. Their voice is steady and even, not probing, not demanding a story from you, just naming something you recognize. You do not need to explain anything. You do not need to talk about where you have been or what you have done. It is enough to sit here, with the cup warming your hands, and let the words float above you like dust in the lamplight. Sometimes, the bookseller continues, people come here looking for the right book to fix something. The right answer, the right guidance, the right distraction. They glance around at the shelves, a small smile in their eyes. Tonight, you do not have to look for the right anything. You can just rest here with the wrong ones, the almost right ones, and the not for you at alls. They will keep perfectly fine without you. Their words are easy, lightly spoken, but they settle into you in a deep, quiet way. You do not have to fix anything. You do not have to reach for the perfect thing. You can simply exist in this in-between time, where the shop is closed to the world, but open to you. You take a slow sip from your cup. The warmth travels down into you, spreading through your chest and your shoulders, down your arms, and into your fingers. Your body understands this language. warm light, safe chair, gentle voice. It begins to let go, piece by piece. From somewhere deeper in the shop, farther down one of the aisles, a floorboard creaks as the building adjusts to the cooling night. The shelves stand like quiet companions, keeping still watch over the stories they hold. Their patient presence surrounds you, a soft, steady circle. The bookseller speaks again, their tone almost like a murmur. I often think books are like seeds, they say. Most of them are just waiting. No rush. They do not mind if no one opens them tonight. Or tomorrow. They are ready whenever it is time. And if it is never time, that is all right too. They have their own kind of rest. You picture it for a moment. Each closed book like a tiny resting seed, full of potential that does not need to be realized to have value. Just existing is enough. Your mind begins to wander gently, not in frantic circles, but in slow, meandering paths. You imagine the people who have sat in this same chair on other evenings, the many hands that have brushed along these spines, the uncounted hours this room has held for those who needed a pause. You do not have to imagine too hard. The room feels full of these quiet echoes, not as noise, but as a soft layer of comfort, a sense of continuity. Others have been tired here before you. Others have rested. The space remembers how to hold you. The bookseller rises after a while, careful not to jar the peaceful atmosphere. Take your time, they say. I will be in the back, putting things in order for tomorrow. There is nothing you need to do. When you are ready, just leave your cup on the table. They move away down one of the narrow aisles, their footsteps fading into the soft maze of shelves. The shop seems to deepen in quiet around you, like a gentle exhale. You lean your head back against the chair and let your eyes drift half closed. The lamplight glows warm behind your eyelids. Your breathing finds a slower rhythm, matching the endless patience of the books resting on their shelves. Somewhere beneath this building, roots of old trees reach under the street, making their silent way through the earth. You have the faintest sense of them, that you cannot see them. The world beyond this gentle room continues its turning. But in here, time stretches, grows soft around the edges. You sit in the stillness, feeling yourself soften, feeling the day unhook itself from your thoughts. In the quiet of the after-hours bookshop, among all these resting stories, another space begins to open in you. A small, calm clearing. A place where something tender and new might someday grow, slowly, in its own time. You do not need to look for it. You just need to let it be. And as your mind drifts on the edge of sleep, you find yourself wondering what it might feel like to step, sometime soon, into a place not of paper and ink, but of living green, a place where the seeds themselves are not stories, but leaves and stems and petals stretching toward the night. But that, you think, can wait for another. The glass house stands at the very edge of town, where the pavements thin to gravel, and the streetlights give way to darkness and open sky. You find it as evening is folding itself gently over the roofs and chimneys, when the day has grown quiet, but the night has not quite begun. From the outside, the building looks almost like a lantern that has forgotten to glow. Tall panes, framed by soft green paint that has begun to flake, hold the last of the lingering light. Inside, you can see only the suggestion of leaves and shadow, a softened jungle waiting behind the glass. As you draw closer, the air cools around you. The noises of town have already faded to a distant murmur. Somewhere far off, a door closes with a dull, unhurried thud. A car passes once, then not again. Gravel shifts gently under your feet, and your steps slow of their own accord, as though the ground is inviting you to take your time. You reach the glasshouse door. It is old wood, smoothed by many hands. The paint rubbed pale where fingers have regularly rested. When you turn the handle, it moves easily, as if it has been waiting for you and is glad that you are here. The moment the door opens, the air changes. Warmth brushes your face, soft and immediate, like a quiet welcome. It is warmer here than the cool evening outside, but not heavy, not stifling, just a gentle rep of humid air that carries with it the layered sense of soil and leaf and petal, earth and green, and the faint sweetness of flowers that have bloomed for no audience but themselves. You step inside and close the door with a careful hand. The sound of it meeting the frame is small and satisfied. With that soft click, the outside world falls further away, like a thought you no longer need to hold. The light inside is dim and kind. Overhead, panes of glass hold the fading sky, its last colors blurring into a muted silver gray. Along the paths, small lamps stand at intervals, their light low and golden, enough to show you where to walk, but never enough to startle or demand attention. The glass house is not perfectly kept. Vines explore the edges of their beds. Ferns spill over their borders in slow, feathery cascades. A tall plant with wide, glossy leaves leans slightly into the aisle, as if curious about your arrival. Nothing is wild or threatening, but nothing is strictly in order either. This is a place that has been allowed to breathe. You take a step further in, then another, walking slowly along the central path. The stones underfoot are smooth and slightly damp, cooled by the steady work of the day. On either side of you, plants rise in gentle tiers. Low trays of soft moss, beds of leafy herbs, taller stems crowned with petals that hold the last of the warmth like tiny lanterns tucked between layers of green. Somewhere above, you hear the first soft tap of rain on the glass roof. It is a small sound at first, a tentative touch of water on pane. A single note, then another, and another. Soon it becomes a quiet, scattered rhythm, never harsh, never urgent. Just the light conversation of raindrops meeting glass, separated from you by that thin, shining barrier. The sound wraps itself around the space, muffled and distant, like someone speaking gently in another room. You can hear the town too, but only faintly, and only in pieces. A faraway engine, a laugh carried on the air and softened by the walls of green. You notice how quickly those sounds arrive and then slide away again, as if even they understand that this is a place for unhurried moments. You walk past a long wooden table near the center of the glass house. It is marked by years of quiet use, soft grooves where pots have been set down, pale circles where water has dried, a scattering of soil, not messy, just honest, as though the earth is allowed to roam a little. A small watering can rests on its side, emptied for the evening, like a tool that has finished its simple work and is now at ease. You pause by the table and rest your fingertips lightly on its surface. The wood is cool and steady. For a moment, you imagine all the days it has seen. New shoots potted carefully, seeds pressed into soil with gentle thumbs, dead leaves brushed away without haste. Perhaps someone hummed here once, a tune so soft that only the plants heard. All that quiet tending, all that patient care, and none of it rushed. On a nearby shelf, small labels lean against the sides of pots. The handwriting is unhurried and slightly uneven, the kind of script that belongs to someone who does not mind taking an extra moment. The names of the plants are there, though you do not need to read them. It is enough to know they are known, that someone has taken the time to notice what they are and how they grow. You continue along the path, moving deeper into the green. On your left, a fern uncurls a new frond. It is not doing this for you, not performing, not hurrying. It simply continues the slow, ancient work it has always done. Each segment reveals itself at its own pace, leaf by tiny leaf, a reminder that growth does not need an audience and does not respond to impatience. A little farther on, you see a droplet of water clinging to the very tip of a leaf. It sways slightly as the glasshouse air moves, round and clear, holding the dim light within it. Every so often it lengthens, tugged gently by its own weight, and then eases back again. It does not yet fall. It simply hangs there, balancing between motion and stillness, perfectly content to take its time. You breathe in, and the air is filled with the quiet assurance of living things that do not rush. Here, plants reach slowly toward the softened light. Roots explore the soil in the dark, unbothered by how long it takes to find what they need. Buds form without fanfare and open when they are ready, not a moment sooner. Nothing in this room is forcing itself forward. nothing is being demanded. You feel the gentle weight of that understanding settle around your shoulders, like a shawl woven from green and shadow. Growth can be this way, the glass house seems to say, soft, patient, almost imperceptible. You walk past a cluster of small flowers, their petals partly closed for the evening, as if they too are beginning to rest. Between them, new buds wait, safely wrapped, not yet called to open. They will, in their own time, in their own way. There is no schedule posted on the wall, no list of expected blooms. Another patter of rain finds the glass above, a slightly fuller sound now, but still gentle. The droplets gather on the panes in shining lines, then slip downward, leaving clear paths through the faint film of the day. Each one traces its own course, unbothered by the ones that came before. You find a simple wooden bench beneath a broad-leafed plant and sit. The bench is sturdy and a little worn, molded to the shape of those who have rested here before you. From this spot, you can see the length of the glasshouse stretching away, a soft tunnel of green fading into shadow. The lamps along the path glow like quiet thoughts at the back of your mind, present but not pressing. You let your hands rest in your lap. You let your shoulders lower a little, then a little more. As you breathe in, you imagine the air carrying with it the patience of ferns and the calm of moss. As you breathe out, you feel the remnants of the day leaving you as gently as the rain slides down the glass. There is nothing here that needs you to be faster, nothing asking you to be more than you are in this moment. The plants do not measure you. The flowers do not make demands. The soil does not keep score of what has or has not been done. In this warm, breathing space, you are allowed simply to exist, like another living thing among many, quietly present and quietly enough. You sit for a while, listening to the softened tap of rain, the almost silent shift of leaves, the muffled echo of a world outside that can wait. If thoughts arrive, they do so lightly, like birds that perch for a moment and then move on. You do not have to chase them, or hold them, or solve them. They come and they go, and the glass house remains, steady and green. Somewhere near the far end, a small drip of water falls from a pipe into a basin with a tiny, regular sound. It is not perfectly timed. Sometimes the drops are a little closer together. Sometimes they take a little longer to fall. Yet the plants there are thriving anyway. You realize, slowly, that you are thriving a little too, simply by sitting here and doing nothing at all. In this space, rest is not a reward. It is not something to be earned or justified. It is simply part of how things grow. Night follows day. Stillness follows effort. Quiet follows noise. A leaf unfurls. A bud closes. A droplet falls, and another takes its place. After a time, When you feel ready, you rise from the bench. The glass house does not urge you to go, and it does not ask you to stay. It simply continues its soft, ongoing work. You walk back along the path, past the table, past the ferns, past the patient droplet that may or may not have finally fallen. At the door, you pause and look back once more. The lamps cast gentle halos on the leaves. The rain taps, light and rhythmic, above. The air hums with the faint, wordless promise that things continue to renew themselves, even when you are not watching, even when you are resting. You step outside and close the door behind you, leaving the warmth and the green inside, carrying their quiet with you like a small, steady ember. The night air feels cooler now, the sky a deeper shade of blue-gray. The town is a distant murmur once more, waiting without urgency. Ahead, beyond the edge of town, there is the thought of water, of a place where the surface of a lake holds the sky, and the past lies scattered in harmless pieces on an old wooden table. You find yourself walking in that direction, unhurried, feeling a little lighter, as though something within you has been watered without you having to do a thing. The cottage waits for you at the edge of the lake, as if it has always been expecting you. It is small and low and quiet, its roof soft with moss, its windows reflecting the pale evening sky. The path that leads you there is simple and worn, a narrow line of earth through the tall grass that leans gently toward the water. The lake itself is calm, a wide sheet of muted silver that barely ripples. Now and then, a faint circle expands where a fish has risen, then fades again until the surface is smooth. The air is cool and easy in your lungs, with a hint of wood smoke and damp earth. You walk slowly. There is no reason to hurry here. The day behind you has already loosened its hold, like a coat you have shrugged from your shoulders. Each step brings the quiet of the place closer. Each breath settles you a little more. When you reach the cottage door, it gives under your hand without resistance. It opens easily, as if it has been opened this way 1,000 times before, by you or by someone very much like you. Inside, the light is soft. The last of the evening filters in through thin curtains, painting gentle colors on the wooden floor. The room is one open space, simple and kind. A low bed with a thick, well-worn quilt waits against one wall. A stove rests near another. There is a single, deep armchair by the window, and near it, an old wooden table. It is the table that seems to draw you. Its surface is marked with years of use, faint rings where mugs once rested, thin scratches where pens once pressed a little too hard. And spread across it, in a loose, harmless drift, are pieces of paper. They lie in small piles and solitary sheets, some folded, some crumpled at the edges, some perfectly flat, as though they were placed there only yesterday. You move closer and see that they are lists, to-do lists. At the top of one page, in a familiar kind of handwriting, someone has written a heading, neat and hopeful. Beneath it, a column of tasks marches down the page. Buy new batteries. Clear out the drawer by the sink. Learn a new language. Organize old photos. Call someone back. Make a start on some grand project whose name now makes you smile. You look at another list. The ink here is paler. The paper slightly yellowed. On this one, the tasks are even more ambitious. Start running every morning. Fix everything in the house. Answer every message. Improve, improve, improve. None of these things have been crossed out. There are no ticks, no triumphant notes in the margins. Just ideas that once felt urgent and important, now resting quietly in a cottage by a still lake. You pull out a chair and sit. The wood creaks a little under your weight. A soft, familiar sound. From where you are, you can see both the lake through the window and the scattered pages before you. You are held between them, between the wide, quiet water and the small, quiet promises that were made long ago. You pick up one page and hold it gently in your fingers. The paper is flimsy, but not fragile, as if it has been waiting for this moment of attention. You read the first item again. Start something. Finish something. Be better at something. You notice, almost with surprise, that the words are not heavy. They are not dangerous. They are simply marks on paper. Plans that never unfolded. Ideas that went another way. Intentions that drifted off like mist over the surface of the lake. You let your eyes trace down the list, and with each line, you feel a small, quiet question rising, patient and kind. Did it truly matter? You imagine the days when these lists were written, the way the hand might have pressed more firmly for some tasks, less so for others. The slight quickening in the chest as plans piled up. The belief that all of these things must somehow be done. And now, here they are. Not done, not urgent, not needed. You place the page back on the table. Your hand moves slowly, deliberately, as though returning something delicate to its rest. Outside, the lake gives a faint sigh against the shore. A soft sound of water on stone, here and gone again. You pick up another sheet. This one has several days written across the top, one under another. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Each day with a fresh set of tasks. Each day crowded with small demands. Some are practical. Some are vague. Some are harsh. Be more. Try harder. Do not forget. You notice how many times the word must appears. You notice how many tiny orders this one piece of paper has tried to give. You look from the page to the window. The lake does not know this word. The trees along the shore do not know it either. The birds, settling into their nests for the night, have never written it at the top of a page. The world outside the glass is continuing as it always has, untroubled by the ink and the lines and the expectations stacked on this table. Slowly, you begin to slide the lists together, drawing them into a single, gentle pile. There is no rush, no sense of cleaning or clearing. You are not fixing anything. You are simply gathering, one page on top of another, small sighs of paper settling against paper. With each sheet you lift, you glance at one or two tasks. You notice how little they ask of the person you actually are in this moment, how poorly they fit the quiet of this cottage, the rhythm of your breath, the slow sway of the reeds outside. For each task you see, you imagine it growing lighter, like a leaf drying in the sun and letting go of the branch. You picture it fluttering away along the surface of the lake, until all that is left is the calm water and your own soft presence beside it. When the last page has been added to the pile, you rest your hand on top. The wood of the table is warm under your palm. You realize that these lists are relics of a time when you believed you could earn rest only by doing enough, by proving enough, by catching up. Here, in this cottage, by this lake, something different is being offered. You take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, you let yourself imagine that every unfinished task written on these pages belongs to another lifetime, another season, another version of you who did not yet know that it was allowed to put the pen down. You gently push the pile of papers to one side of the table, not in rejection, not with anger, but with a quiet understanding that they are complete in their own way. Not because everything on them was done, but because you are done holding them. From a nearby shelf, you lift a small, smooth stone. It fits perfectly in your hand, heavy enough to feel real, light enough not to strain. You set the stone on top of the pages, a simple weight that keeps them from drifting. There they can stay, not forgotten as in lost, but forgotten as in forgiven, released from duty, released from urgency. You stand and move to the window. The armchair there waits for you, its cushions soft and deep. When you sink into it, the fabric welcomes your shape as if it has learned it already. Through the glass, the last light is leaving the water. The sky is folding into darker shades. The world is growing quieter, and so are you. You notice that your shoulders have dropped, that your jaw has loosened, that somewhere inside you, a long list of unspoken tasks has grown dimmer, as if the cottage has taken them and placed its own gentle stone on top. You are here now. That is enough. If there are things undone, they can remain undone. If there are plans unstarted, they can remain unstarted. The lake does not ask you for a schedule. The chair does not demand a report. The bed, waiting in the corner, will not quiz you on all you did not finish. You are allowed to arrive at this evening exactly as you are. In the quiet that follows, you listen to your own breathing, the tiny sounds of the cottage settling, the faint murmur of water touching shore. Somewhere, not far away, a village is beginning to dream of morning. Stalls will be unfolded. Bread will be laid out. Familiar voices will greet one another in low, easy tones. A Sunday kind of day, with nothing urgent to prove. But for now, you simply rest in the lakeside cottage, with your lists set aside and your hands finally empty, ready to be filled with something softer in the morning. It is a Sunday morning in a small village that seems to have been yawning itself awake for hundreds of years in exactly the same gentle way. You wake slowly, not to an alarm, not to anything urgent, but to a pale, even light that has slipped quietly around the edges of the curtains. The air in the room is cool and still, carrying a faint hint of bread baking somewhere in the distance. For a long moment, you simply lie there, listening. There is no traffic, no phones, no sharp sounds. Only the far-off clink of something being arranged, the soft murmur of a voice, then silence again, as though the village is remembering that it is Sunday and nothing needs to be hurried. You sit up, feeling the softness of the mattress beneath you, the easy weight of the blanket sliding away. When your feet touch the floor, the boards are smooth and faintly warm from the slowly climbing day. You move unhurriedly, letting each small action be as simple as it wants to be. Standing, stretching, padding across the room to open the window a little wider. Outside, the village street is just beginning to change from sleep to wakefulness. The sky is a soft, pale color, like milk with a drop of blue swirled through it. The sun has not yet made any bold decisions. It hangs somewhere behind a thin veil of cloud, content to let the morning be quiet and cool. Along the street below, stalls are appearing one by one, the way lanterns appear at dusk, except now they come in the opposite direction, blooming out of folded tables and bundled cloth. You see a pair of hands lifting a crate of apples, another pair smoothing a cloth across a wooden surface. Someone arranges small jars in a careful row, stepping back, then forward again, adjusting them just a little. The market is beginning. There is no rush to join it. Time feels wide and generous. You take a moment to notice how your body feels, how your breath moves in and out without you needing to shape it. Then, when you are ready, you dress in whatever is closest and most comfortable and make your way downstairs. The front door opens with a familiar little sigh, as though it too is waking up. The air outside meets your face like cool water, then settles into something softer, carrying scents that have been waiting for you. Yeast and flour from the bakery, fresh earth from somewhere behind a row of houses, the faint sweetness of fruit and cut flowers. You step onto the cobbled street and feel the rounded stones through the soles of your shoes, the slight give and shift that makes each step a tiny reminder to go slowly. The village is not crowded. People drift rather than walk. A couple leans against a doorway, sharing quiet words. An older man sits on a low stool by his door with a cup of something warm, watching the market unfold as if it is a play he has seen 1,000 times and never grown tired of. You walk towards the first stall, drawn by the steady warmth of an oven that has been awake longer than anyone else. Its awning is simple, its table covered with plain cloth. On the cloth sit loaves of bread, rounded and long, dark and pale, some dusted with flour, others glistening slightly, still cooling from the early bake. The baker, with flour on his sleeves and gentle lines at the corners of his eyes, looks up as you approach. There is no need to introduce yourself. He gives you the kind of nod that says he remembers you, or would have remembered you, even if this were your first visit. His smile is small and unhurried. You choose a loaf almost at random, guided not by decision, but by the way the crust catches the light. When he hands it to you, it is still faintly warm. The weight of it in your hands is comforting, a quiet promise that you will not be hungry today, that some things are as simple as bread and time. You thank him in a low voice, and he responds in kind, words soft, as if not to disturb the peaceful air. Then you wander on, loaf tucked against your side, like a small, practical treasure. The next stall holds fruit and vegetables in shallow wooden crates. The colors are muted in the gentle light, but they are no less beautiful for it. Apples, speckled and uneven, pears with soft yellow skin, bundles of greens still holding drops of morning moisture along their edges. The person behind this stall does not rush to sell anything. Instead, they straighten a row of oranges, pause to brush a leaf from a cauliflower, then rest their elbows on the table, simply being there. When your eyes meet, there is a moment of comfortable recognition, the sort that says you do not need to explain yourself. You are simply another person in the village this morning, and that is enough. You move on, carried by the slow current of the market. A stall of flowers sends out its own small cloud of fragrance into the cool air. Not overpowering, just a soft mixture of green stems and petals, of leaves that have just been cut, and water that has just been poured. Some of the flowers stand tall in simple glass jars. Others lie in loose bundles, waiting to be claimed and carried away. You run a finger lightly along the petals of one large bloom. It is velvety, almost impossibly soft. The stall keeper, a young woman with her hair gathered simply at the back of her neck, watches with a gentle expression. You do not feel any pressure to buy, to choose, to decide. This is a place where lingering is allowed, where touching a petal, taking in a scent, is a complete experience in itself. You stay for as long as you like, then nod in quiet thanks and wander on. Around you, the sounds of the market have grown, but only a little. The murmur of low voices, the occasional short, warm laugh, the faint clatter of a wooden crate being set down. A kettle whistles softly from somewhere nearby, then falls silent again. No one calls out. no one hurries. You reach a stall of handmade objects, each one bearing the gentle marks of human hands. Mugs with slightly uneven rims, bowls with faint swirls where fingers once moved the clay, knitted scarves, the pattern regular but not machine perfect, each stitch a quiet moment of someone's time. You pick up a mug and feel the way it fits into your palm. It is solid but not heavy, as though designed for quiet evenings and early mornings, for hands that need something warm to hold. You imagine steam rising from it. Tea, coffee, a simple broth. You imagine cupping it with both hands on a day like this, or on a colder day, or on a day when the world outside feels much louder than this village does now. The maker, sitting calmly behind the table, watches your examination with easy patience. There is no pitch, no urgency, only a sense of shared appreciation for things that did not need to be perfect to be exactly right. You set the mug down gently, knowing it will be here if you ever want to find it again. Further on, there is a stall with jars of honey and jam, each labeled in careful handwriting. The glass catches what light there is, turning the contents into small, glowing windows of gold and deep red and soft orange. A spoon rests beside a jar with its lid already loosened, and when you are offered a small taste, you accept. The honey is smooth and slow on your tongue. For a moment, the entire world seems to narrow to that flavor, to the way it spreads and lingers, to the way your body responds with a tiny sigh of recognition. Sweetness, simple, honest sweetness. You swallow, and with it goes the last small edge of anything that might have remained sharp from before. Your shoulders soften, your jaw relaxes. You breathe out more fully than you have in a while. Around you, the village continues its gentle Sunday rhythm. A child walks past, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers and a round of bread, watched from a few steps behind by someone who is clearly not in a hurry to catch up. A dog finds a patch of sun that has finally found its way through the clouds and lies down with a long, contented groan. A church bell in the distance gives one slow, echoing chime, as if merely reminding everyone what day it is. You find a low wall at the edge of the square and sit for a while, placing the bread beside you. From here, you can see almost the entire market. The simple stalls, the slow-moving people, the way everyone seems to understand, without needing to say it out loud, that today is for ease. Nothing is being sold that you are required to buy. No one is selling you a better version of yourself. There are only useful things, beautiful things, fragrant things, tasty things. There is only the ordinary magic of people sharing the results of their quiet care with one another. You notice how easily you fit into this picture. You are not separate. You are not an interruption. You are simply another gentle shape among other gentle shapes, moving through the morning. You sit and let the village hold you the way it holds them all, with that soft, unspoken welcome. There is no test to pass, no story you must tell about yourself. The market, the village, the day itself expects nothing more from you than exactly what you are already doing: breathing, being here, letting time pass. Slowly, almost without realizing it, you feel a sense of belonging settle over you like another layer of warm clothing. It is not dramatic. It is not sudden. It is simply there. A quiet understanding that you have a place in this gentle weave of people and stalls and Sunday light. You think of other places you have been, of other rooms and paths and moments of rest. The soft harbor light of a town by the sea, the steady drum of rain on a safe roof, the hush of a train at night, carrying you through darkness without asking you to steer, the hush of high places, the smell of paper and ink, the warm breath of plants against glass, the stillness of a lakeside evening filled with lists that no longer matter. All of those places, all of those moments have followed you here, quietly lining up behind you like unseen friends. They are part of you now, and you are part of them. You carry them into this Sunday market, and the market offers something back in return. The feeling of being gently woven into a small, kind world. You sit a little longer, watching as the morning becomes itself more fully. The light brightens, but not too much. The air softens, but not so much that you feel sleepy in your bones. Instead, you feel that pleasant in-between state where you could walk or sit or close your eyes, and any choice would be the right choice. You gather your bread. You stand slowly, as if not to startle the calm. You take one more slow walk along the stalls, nodding here and there, exchanging a word, a smile, a shared look of knowing that this is enough. This small village, this quiet market, this simple shared morning. As you wander back towards the doorway where your day began, the sounds of the market drift around you like a soft blanket being wrapped just a little tighter. A laugh, a quiet greeting, the rustle of paper wrapping a loaf, the low murmur of someone asking how the week has been, even though the answer here almost does not matter. What matters is that you are asked. What matters is that you are here. At your door, you pause and look back one last time. The village square is still unhurried, still gentle, still content to move at the pace of breath. You let the sight settle into you, a picture you can return to whenever you wish. Then you step inside, carrying with you the warmth of bread, the softness of voices, the easy weight of being part of a place that welcomes you exactly as you are. You know now that you can arrive in such places whenever you need to. You know now that you can rest, and as you move deeper into the quiet of the room, into the quiet of yourself, you feel the stories you have walked through gathering softly around you, inviting you, whenever you wish, to wander back through them again and again and again.